Okay, so this is done. We're set. So you're gonna have your video as soon as we finish today. You'll have your video available on YouTube. So if you have to leave early, you can catch up later. So everybody should have this document. Is on. I put it on Slack on our Thursday channel, and if you scroll up on the Thursday channel, you click here today's notes. You can get to the lessons, the class notes for today. And so that's what we're gonna be doing today. And again, if you have any questions, just use the Thursday class channel to ask any questions. Okay, so go ahead and open your IDE. So I have my IDE here at the CS50. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And you can start opening and signing up and running the script that I'm gonna do at the same time I run it. And if you have any questions, let me know. So this is just a recap of what we have done the last 4 weeks. So I tried to make it a little bit more concise and put more context to it so you understand the different codes and the different syntax that we're using. So again, is everything with CSV file. CSV file is a file that you can use from a spreadsheet. So if you have Excel or Google Docs or any other spreadsheets, you can export it as CSV file. And CSV file is a comma separated file. So comma separated values. So that's what CSV means. So the first one we're gonna do is this one. We might have done it something similar last week. And this is a script that reads a CSV file and then prints the content of the file. So it creates a file. No, it reads it and then prints it out on the terminal. So the Oscar, this Oscar CS2 CSV, it already exists. And this is just gonna read it. So if you don't have, of course, you don't have this Oscar file, so let me send it to you. I'm gonna put it on the Slack channel so you can use it and save it. It's a, which one? As I call CS Oscar 2. So Oscar 2, it's just, you're gonna see is a whole list of Oscar information, you know, from the movies, Oscars, and it's a database from movies. So let me move that file. Here I'm doing some kind of here. So I'm gonna move the file here. I'm gonna try to move it there. Maybe not. No, it's there. It is. Oh, no, draw a file. No, it's not letting me. Just 1 second. I have to download it, I think. Let me see if let me paste it here. No, so I have to download it, and then I'm gonna put it. There it is, and then I can move it now. There it is. So take that file, load it up on your IDE. So you can use that file. So what you want to do is put that file, and we already have a conversation about that, about how to reference a file by the location. So just for now, just put it right beside the script. So let me move this script here. So this is the script. This is gonna be your, oh, I haven't sent the file, sorry. It got stuck there on my Slack. So this is I'm gonna put the script here. So you're gonna have 2 things. You're gonna upload the CSV file to the location where you're gonna run your Python script. So they should be right beside each other or close by at the same level. And now I'm going to put the script here so you can copy paste it. And of course, it never works for me the way it's supposed to work. There it is. So now take the script. Remember, if it has 2 pounds, it's because it took set. Yeah, you're gonna have, see if we did it right. Let me download this also. I can download this, say examples. I'm gonna download it too, and maybe I just do that. Gonna download it, and then I'm gonna put it on Slack. Maybe that's easier. And then you can upload it to yours. Okay, so you should have now the example 0.py, which is your Python script. And you're gonna see here, and then right beside it somewhere, I have a lot of files. So you should have an Oscar CSV file, which is the other file I sent you. So it should be in the same level, So to start, let's put it in the same level, and then I gonna show you how to do a variation of that, put it in another location. So right now, you should have this one saved close to at the same level than your Python script. Okay, so it gives you couple minutes for you to do that, and let me know if you have any questions. So see how my tree here, my directory tree is, I have my example here, example 0.py, that's my Python file, and I have my Oscar CSV file, which is Oscar2 CSV, right close by at the same level. So let me know when you have it load up so we can run it. Okay, good. And if you haven't catch up, just keep working on, just stop and look what we're gonna do, and then you can maybe try it again. So I'm gonna write, I already am on my directory where I'm supposed to be. I'm in this one, so I'm not gonna have to browse about it. So I just gonna write Python example 0.py. And we're gonna run, and then we're gonna talk about it. So right now, oh, yeah. So let's do this first. I did it backwards, but so this is what we get. This is, everybody should have this, because the way I had the pounds, I have the comments, everybody should have this. So you're gonna have the header. So if you go back to your CSV file and you open it, you should have the same thing. So see how it is in the CSV file. So you're gonna have a header. So the first row is a header, and then you're gonna have data, and you're gonna have the year, category, winner, entity, and these are all whoever won the Oscar as an actor, as an actress, an art director in 1927, and it goes further to 1933, I think. So you should have, when you run the script, you should have this. So let me know if everybody has the same output that I have here. Okay, awesome. So let's talk about what we just did. So you're gonna see here the one at the top I commented out. So this script is not working right now. The one at the bottom is what is working. So this is a version. So this is a simplified version. This is what we talked about it before last week. When we're gonna open a file in with Python, we're gonna use the syntax with open. we're gonna use R. So R is the way we're gonna open the file. If you remember when word processors were in first appear, you have to be very careful. I don't know if you guys remember WordPerfect, or if you work in those. Some of you who have the privilege of working in those, you have to be very careful how you open the files, because you could rewrite the file. So I don't know if you were privileged enough to work in the early version of Word, Microsoft Word or WordPerfect. It was very common for the user to overwrite the file, which is like you destroy the file by accident. So, so to avoid doing that, we specify R. So R means it's like when you open a document on Word and you cannot edit it. So that's a read file, read mode, I think. That's what Word says. It says read mode only, which means you cannot change it. I don't know if you have the experience of opening a Word file and you cannot edit it. So this is the same thing. You're gonna read it. So the compiler's gonna read it, but it's not going to change the original file. So that's what R means. And there are different ways. We're gonna talk about the different modes that you can open. And then it's gonna name this file. It's gonna become an object. So the file in the computer science theory becomes an object. So this object has a name now. And later on, you can look and read more in depth what an object means, because a Python is an object-oriented language, and it's a very depth. I cannot explain it. I'm still trying to understand, but you guys are very clever, so you might figure out what that means. But basically, it's an object. The file is an object, and it's treated as an object, and that means that now is called F. So this is gonna open it as a read, and also gonna close it. So when the script is done, it's gonna close it. So that prevents the file might not be damaged later on. So you open and you close it, and it preserves the integrity of the file. So that's why we always use with open. So now the whole file, this file that we created, is saved as an object, and somewhere in the terminal, somewhere in the memory, as a read file and as a string. So Python took it as a string. No, it's not a string yet. It's a text file. It's some in between string text file, and it's called F. Okay, so now that it's in the memory, it's gonna run a loop. So the loop is gonna go. It's gonna be a very Pythonic way of looping, which is the for loop. So the for loop is a way to loop through either list or through rows. So Python recognizes that file can be loop, iterate through rows. So the row, it doesn't know what a row is. Python doesn't know what a row is. That's not a language. We can put A instead of row, we can put X, we can put your name, it doesn't matter. It's just, we're gonna say it's gonna iterate, it's a unit in that file. So the whole file, it recognizes that it can be iterated. And in a file like that, the only way it can be iterated right now is through rows. So it recognizes that there is a structure called something that we're gonna call it row that is gonna iterate. But this name is, you can put A, you can put X, you can put Z, it doesn't matter. Python knows it's gonna iterate through the rows. So it's gonna print first row, second row, and the third row. And you're gonna see here, that's what it's doing, right? It's gonna go the first row, the second row, the third row, and it's printing out. Except that you can see it's different than the original file. So you're not getting the exact replica of the original file. So do you know why? And the answer is the difference between this version and the version at the top. So you can see there is something that we do here on line 5. I just give you the answer that we don't do here. And we talk a little bit preview in the last class. So if you can unmute yourself or write it on Slack and tell me, what do you think is the difference? What is we have here an extra line and we're not getting the exact replica? And you know, it's just a feeling. Maybe you have a feeling that maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and then we're gonna test it out. We're gonna run the top version. So if anybody can write it, or you can tell me a private message if you're afraid to be in public. Yeah, we have here, there is no reader. Yeah, there is no reader here. So that's the clue. So the main thing is we're not getting the same thing. So there is something that is not right in this code. It's right because we're getting the output that we need, that we were expecting, but the compiler is like not getting exactly. There is something like in the syntax that could be better. Yeah, it's already defined. We are reading a file is already defined. Well, the thing is kind of like a translator. When this file, we're doing it like this way, it doesn't know if a string. So there are information that get lost because we are using the specific tool to read this file. So to read a file like that, you have to use a specific tool. And that specific tool is called the Csv Reader. And the Csv Reader is going to recognize what file we're reading. So it's kind of like a translator. So if you speak, like I speak Spanish, in Portuguese is very similar, but I can't tell you 100% if what I read in Portuguese is correct, if I can translate it, but I have an idea. So this is what is going on. This is kind of has an idea, oh, I'm close, but this is the reader is the specific tool to read CSV file. So let's run so you can see what happened. Let's comment this one because I've been talking too much and that's not good. So I'm going to comment this one, and to comment the whole bunch of lines, you just do control backslash. And I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to uncomment this one. And there's the same thing, control backslash. And then save it. And let's try to run it. And go ahead and run it and let me know how it looks when you run it. When you run this version here at the top. So you're gonna see the output is gonna be slightly different than the previous version. So let me know when you finish running it. Okay, so now you can see now it's an exact replica. See that? This is my original file, and now my output is exactly like the original. So I'm just copying exactly, but I'm not only copying the words, the letters, I'm copying the file the way it's supposed to be. I'm copying the structure. So the key here is using line 5, the CSV Reader. So I have put here a little bit what is the CSV Reader. The CSV Reader returns the entire content of the file as a string. Previously, when we didn't have that, it's going to return it maybe as a text file, and you can see it has added a line. And this is what usually happens when you deal with text. And if you took this class last fall, we were doing with strings, and it's adding a line. It's adding a line. So if you want to eliminate the line, you'll have to do some, you have to add, I don't know if anybody remembers, we had to add this and equal quotes to eliminate the extra line. So what it is like a typewriter. At the end that's return and goes to the next line. So it's add an extra space, but we don't want that. So it's managing as other kind of file. So that's not the idea. We need to have the right tool, so be able to have the same file. And also when you deal with files, if you don't use the right tool, you might end up adding a lot of extra, how do you call that? Extra strings and extra things, that extra spaces and extra, like this line, it'll be adding. So you lose control about what is really in the file. So to preserve the integrity of the file, use the Reader CSV Reader. So that's the difference. And it's doing the same thing. It's just it gives us the exact file that we have, the original file. So any questions so far? Okay. So that's what I put here. Try to run it through that without the CSV Reader and see what happened. And this is what I have here, the version without the CSV Reader. So you can just, after this class, try to change the code a little bit and try to understand what the CSV Reader actually adds, what is so important. Okay, so any questions so far? Okay, no questions. I'm going to explain really good. If we don't have any question or people are just totally lost. So let's assume that everybody understood. So now the script does not print the header and prints only one column. So I'm trying to write this as an application to give a notion what we're doing, what is the function of this script. So how would you avoid printing the headers? So right now we printed the headers. So we have here the headers. You go to the top here, you're going to see the headers, right? So what about if we don't want to print the headers? What do we do? What about if we want specific columns and we just want actors, or we just want the name of the what year? How do we get that information? So this is what we're gonna do. So with this file here, and this is, I have to give it to you, examples 0000. So let me close this for now and put example 00. And I'm gonna put it on Slack. Oh no, what did I do? There. And let me put the code here. And that's gonna reference the same Oscar file. So you already have the Oscar CSV file. So it's gonna, if you put this example 00 in the same level than your Oscar CSV file, you don't have to change anything. It'll run. It'll find it for you. So go ahead and put that in your IDE, and let's talk about what is this about. So this is gonna read a file and print all the rows inside the file. So we have the reader, the CSV reader, which is gonna take the Oscar 2. Then to skip the first row, we're just gonna write next reader. So that's gonna avoid to print the first row. So the cursor on the compiler is gonna go to the next one. So it's gonna go to the next row. So just put in here, because this reader refers to this reader. So you just click next, means next row. And then you're gonna put row in reader. And again, you can put here anything that you want because it's indexing by row right now. So you can loop through row. So this is the for loop that is gonna go through all the rows. And then let's try to turn this off for now. And we're gonna turn on the first one first, this one. So just have this one running. So we're just gonna put the print row for now. So I'm gonna take this one off and I'm gonna put, so we're just gonna make sure it's running the same way. So what is the example 00 supposed to do? What will be our output? Print all the rows except for which one? Oh, BJ already said it. Good. So it's gonna print all the row except the header because of line 6. Line 6 is gonna go to the next header. Okay, so let's see if that works, if that's what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna run it and I'm gonna go up and see if that happens. So this is a lot of data. So here it is. It's missing the header. Okay, so it worked. So right now, let's do, what about if we want to print only a specific column? So remember we talked a couple days ago about how to index, that we start with 0. So the first column is going to be 0. The year is going to be 0. The actor or actress or whatever this, the category is 1. This falls through is going to be 2, which, let me open the Oscar. So the year is going to be 0. Category is going to be 1. Winner is going to be, what's the number, the index for this? So 0, 1, 2. In the entity, 3. Very good. So here, what we're going to do, print row. This is actually, is now column number 1, but it's actually the index index 1. It's column 2, right? It's the second column. So it's the second column. So let's run it like this, and we should only get this column. So let's try that. So make sure you turn off the print row, because otherwise you're gonna get a bunch of data all mixed up. So make sure you only have print row bracket 1 on comment. So you should get this one. And if you go back to your data, that's what it should do. So you can compare it. So yeah, it's the same column. Okay, everybody got that? Yes, yeah. Okay, so now let's go. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Let's go to the next example, which is slicing. So what about if we want to print a range of columns? So this is called slicing. This is also used in list in Python. So this is going to be from 0, 0, 1, and I think 2 is not going to go to 2. If I'm not, yeah, right here. That's why I wrote it, because I always forget. So when you slice, this number is not included. It's not included. So it's excluded. So you should have 2 columns. So make sure you turn off all the lines from 11 to 23 except 16. So line 16 should be the only one on. So let's run that one. Okay, so this is what I get. So is that correct? So I got the year and I got the category. So that's 0 and 1. Is that correct? Yeah, good. So now we can turn that off. So any questions now? Let's do to the line 19. So what is this gonna print? 2 column, nothing. What are we gonna print? Start from column 2. Yeah, the second column including. So this is why I get confused, because when you put these numbers to start, you include that one, and then it goes to the last one, to the last column. So you don't have to specify the last column. It'll know where the last column is. So it should print column 2 to the last column. So let's see if that's correct. And there it is. So you can compare it with the data. So this is 0, 1, 2. So it printed all that. Yeah, so, but you don't have to specify, you don't have to count. You can just leave it empty and you don't have, it'll figure it out for you. So it'll print, so it's a slice. It's like a slicing a piece of bread, and you just get the other portion. Okay, so that's the way to do it with, if you want to arrange. Okay, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I like to do that. Okay, any questions so far? The first example, the reader. Sure, I can read it. I can. So example 0. Oh, okay, I think this is pretty cool too. The reader, let me just go through what I just said, and if you don't have any questions, you have still questions, I'll go through it. So the reader is going to take this file and read it as a script. When we don't use the reader, it's going to read it as some other file. So it might bring some characters like extra spaces that we don't want. So we use the reader because the reader is something that is designed to work with CSV files, and it's gonna understand CSV file, and we're gonna get a replica of that. So that's why we use the CSV reader. Okay, so the next one I'm waiting for. Well, text, I'm not, yeah, I'm not, see, I'm very careful. I am saying CSV file. Text files, I haven't experimented with text files. Text file is some other, it's outside the scope. So I cannot comment about text file. I know this work for CSV file. You can go and read the literature into files, and you're gonna find a lot of information. And if you know about programming, you'll find out, you'll understand it. What I know, and that's what I wanted to show you, is that when you don't use the right tool for the right file, you're gonna bring extra things that you don't want. And one of these extra things is that line. So this line is an error because if you're working with data, your data has to be, you have to keep the integrity of the data. You cannot add characters, additional characters that is going to damage your data, because your data has to be consistent. Because if you don't keep your data consistent, then you cannot manipulate it. So you have to know how your data is designed so you can design tools to work on it over and over and over, because you don't want to do a custom script for each one. It's like when you work in Excel, and if you have to develop a formula for each one, is very time consuming, but if you develop a formula, it'll work for all of them, is better. So this is kind of like what it is. And knowing your structure, that your data structure stays intact, is very important. So that's why I wanted to show you what happened if you don't use the right tools. And there is a whole other section of what we're doing that deals with text files and deals with PDF files and so on. So yeah, this is just a little bit of a big, like everything computer science, which is huge. You never stop learning, which is a good thing. So, this is us trying to be learn a little bit of everything that we need to learn. So, so that's a great question. And I invite you to read about it. There is great articles on the web too about that. Okay, so the next one, we're gonna talk about indexing. So before we were using 0, 2, 1. And you know how it is. Well, is it a 0? What column? Is it 2? Is it 3? Do we have 5 columns? Do we have 3 columns? You know how this is. You need planning. You need also to look at the data and count the columns. So what about if we design something better, which is we can index it by the header titles? Kind of like what you do in Excel. You just take that title and you can extrapolate it by the header. So this is what we're going to do. So, and this is why we use dictionary. So now we're not going to do the CSV reader. We're not going to do the CSV reader. We're going to do the dict reader. So the dict reader is going to take our data and then make it a dictionary. Remember, last week we talked about how dictionaries index. So by putting a dictionary, taking our data and putting a dictionary, we can actually index it. we can have more tools to get into that data and be and it's more flexible. So we're gonna write this one, and instead of a CSV reader, you see it's now Dick Reader. And also we're gonna access it by the names of the column. So let me send you that file. Actually, I want to save it. I'm going to change it. No, I'm going to send, just to keep consistent, I'm going to send you that file because I start changing things and then I get confused. So I'm going to send you this file so you can save it like we talk about it. So yeah, let's do that to change the game at the last minute. I mean, you on your side, you can do whatever you want. Why is it opening? I don't want it to open. See, it's opening. I don't want it to open. 1 second, let me get it. Where did it go? There it is. Name. There it is. So you're gonna take that file. And what I did, you don't have to do the same thing, but what I did was I created a folder. You see it here? I created a folder, so it's a subdirectory. So you see here, this is my file here, which you see example. This is gonna be, what example is gonna be? Example 1. So I'm gonna go example 1. Let me find it here. Example 1 is right here. I made a subfolder, and that's where I put name. So that CSV file I just sent you, it has like 3 lines. I saved it here. And I'm gonna give you the code for this one. So just hold on until I get there. I hope this is not too complicated for anybody. I try to make it easier, but you know, but it's sometimes easy for me, it's not easy for anybody else. So, so just bear with me, and remember, I'm recording this, so if you get lost, just take it. You can rewatch it, or send me a Slack message. So try to make a folder, a subfolder, and there's gonna be put your name file. So your example 1, which is this file I just put on Slack, is gonna be at one level, and then you're gonna put the name on right below, on the folder right below. So that way, to reference to that, you're gonna call this folder, which is the folder immediately below my script file, my py file, which is the name is CSV file, \, and now the name of the file. So everybody got that? Because everybody asked me that question last time, and this is the way you do it. So you have to put it below yours, and I'm sure you'll find another better way to do it, but this is the way I did it, and it worked. So this is gonna reference, it's gonna find that file in this folder, okay? So this is, it's gonna take that file, names, it's gonna open it. So line 6 is gonna open it. Then it's gonna save it as a dictionary. So it's gonna index it. And then it's gonna go through each row, and it's gonna, then I'm gonna tell it to print the first name and the last name. We can actually do this just for effect. I'm gonna turn this one off, and I'm gonna delete the first row. So you can see, I wanna show you how we can index by, we can print the second column, by using just the title of that column. And I'm going to turn this off because we don't need that anymore. That's just to show you what happens, but we don't need it anymore because you guys are clever enough and we have done it many times. So try this way. So I just copy paste and I just want to show the last name. So it should print. So if you open the name CSV file, it's going to have first names and it's going to last name. If this works, it should print only the last name columns by me just referencing to the header instead of the index of the column. So go ahead and try and see if it works. And if it didn't make sense anything I say, let me know. So I'm gonna put here, I'm gonna run it the same time you run it. Oh, good. Isn't that good when things work? I just love it. So see, so what happened before? What happened before was, if you remember, we were using numbers. So now we can use, how clever, we can use words. And what is better? Use words and numbers. I mean, we can, if you imagine you have 10 headers, if you have 10 columns and with different names, you're not gonna be like 0, 1, 3, what is it? I forgot, I start with 0. You just say, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to this column. So that's the way, and this is because we use this magic line, this tick reader, okay? So that's very clever. So okay, so that's cool. Any questions so far? So we're almost to the end. We're the last inning here. We have one more to do. Well, we have a couple more, but let's see if we can. I just want to do these 2 more to finish. So this one, we're going to use the CSV Writer. So now we're going to create files. So remember, we haven't created any files from scratch. Everything has been extracting a file and reading it and printing it, reading and printing, or doing, you know, extracting something out of that file. So now we're going to create a file. So we're going to do CSV Writer. So it creates a writer. A writer is like, there is like a little bot or something in Python that writes the file. It's a method that permits us to write data to a file in CSV. So we're going to enter data and it's going to create a CSV file. So it's going to give us a lot of functionality here and other syntax that we can use. So we're going to use phone book 001, which is, I think we did a version last time. So let me give you the data. Phone book 001. There it is. And I'm going to put a Slack. And hopefully it works. No, it never works the way I want it to work. So go ahead and run that, the one I just put. And the only thing is, I created a folder CSV file, so it's going to create the file inside that folder. If you don't have the folder, if you wanted to create it in another, right beside your file, just delete this part. Okay, so because if you don't have this name of the file, like I have it here, it's gonna give you an error. So you can either change it to your folder, the folder where you're keeping all your CSV files, or you can delete it and just, this file, it'll create right beside your Python file. So it's gonna, this one is gonna append. So remember, it's gonna use A. So it's not gonna be R, see, it's A. So with A, mode A, the file is open for writing. The file is created if it does not exist. The handle is positioned at the end of the file. So you can keep adding data, data, and data. So we're using an A. So go ahead and run it. If you haven't run it, Python phone book 001 py, and it's supposed to create it. So what it should write? So it's putting here the writer is creating the writer, then is writing in a row, Ringo, and then the phone number. So now if you open your CSV, the phone book 0001, which is what's created here, you should have that data. And then if you run it again, it's gonna enter, it's gonna show up. No, I put the other one. 1 second. There it is. There it is. So I can do this forever and it's gonna keep adding it. So you can see the applications here. If maybe I have a long list to add, I just put that list there. And instead of me, typing it, you can just put more rows here and it's gonna keep. So there are different versions to that. So that's one version. And now we're gonna do a dictionary. So now this is not a dictionary, so we cannot index it by categories, by the header. So now this one, you can index it by, it's gonna create a dictionary. So that's another way to do it, and that's phone book example 2. So let me find example 2. And put it on Slack. And run that one. Okay, so this one is gonna put, so because it's a dictionary, remember dictionary have a key and a value. So now you're putting keys and values. So let's try to run that one and see how it looks. Python and example 2 py. And let's see, name 2, and even to find it. Name 2. So here it is. So it added a header and it added the name. So what is going on here? So it's opening the file, it's creating the file if it doesn't exist. I'm putting it here. This is something new I learned. This is the header. So I'm gonna tell it, hey, I have a header. The header is first name and last name. So this is another way to put the header. Before, I think we just type it on the CSV file. So I find out how to put a header. If you put a header, you have to put here this parameter called field names, and then the name of the header, this header here. And then you write header, writer header. So it's gonna run the header, and then it's gonna run the rest. Okay. So, and that's with the dictionary. So if you have a dictionary, then it's already a dictionary and you can index it. So you can write something to index it. So that's another option in case you need it. Right now, it doesn't matter very much because you are writing a dictionary. So, but it's another option. Here I have the different open modes. So you can click here and see what is open mode. And I would suggest you, just for fun, go ahead and go to one of these ones and change the mode and see what happens. You will delete the file. One of the modes will make you delete the file. I don't know which one. I think it's a W, but when you change it, you delete a file. So don't put anything important in the file. But this is just playing around, just practicing. This is the one we did last time, which is the terminal is going to ask you So you can try this at home. We did it last week where the terminal is going to ask you to, is a user entry design on the terminal. You input the name and the number, and it's going to save it in these phone books. This is a pen, so it's writing. You're going to have Csv writers if we're not using dictionary. So I think the Csv writer is more common. They use in the dictionary when you write, but when you read, dictionary is an advantageous that to use. And then you have the writer row. I think we did that last week. So try it now that we tried different ways. And this is the version, the same version, but with a header and a dictionary. So try that one. And then next week, we're gonna start working on sorting data and counting data. No counting data, but taking, you know, like on Excel, you put sort and you sort everything, or count. We're gonna do that with Python. Okay, so any questions so far? So if I have a lot of you, I have already the indication that you want to take next week's. If anybody else wants to take next week, please Slack me or email me, or go to the EBPL website and register you. And if you have, keep practicing, because we're gonna, you know, we don't stop, we keep going. So keep practicing. If you have any questions, let me know on Slack. I'm always on Slack. And think about what applications, how this is important, how this will make maybe an application or something that you do often relevant. What kind of other things you can do. So let me know what you think, how this is even important to you or is relevant. So the dictionary, the Dick Writer, I think is not used as often as the Dick Reader. But when you read, it's advantageous to you to make something that it has not been indexed to index. But when you write, I don't know the application so far, but I'm sure we'll find out why it's important to know. But I wanted to give you at most options. But I think Csv Writer we're going to be using Csv Writer more often and is more popular. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to stay in Slack for a little bit. You have more questions, and I hope to see you next week. And I hope, you know, give you a lot of practice so we can move forward to some other more exciting applications. Okay, take care.